Imagine this: you're at school, and during recess, a classmate makes a hurtful comment about you in front of everyone. Your heart races, and anger bubbles up inside. You want to shout back, maybe even get back at them. We've all been there, right? A moment when someone's words cut deep, leaving us feeling small and upset. It's a common human struggle, how to respond when someone hurts us. Now, let's take a step back and think about what Jesus said: turn the other cheek. This phrase might sound strange at first, especially when we feel like defending ourselves or fighting back. But what if there's more to it? What if this teaching offers us a way to break the cycle of hurt and anger that can trap us? In the Bible, Jesus spoke these words during the Sermon on the Mount. He was sharing wisdom with a large crowd, many of whom faced daily struggles just like ours. They dealt with conflict, resentment, and the desire for revenge. Jesus understood their pain and wanted to guide them toward a better way to live. So, what did he mean by turning the other cheek? At its core, this teaching encourages us not to react with violence or anger but instead choose a path of forgiveness and peace. When someone strikes us, whether with words or actions, turning the other cheek means showing them that we refuse to be defined by their negativity. Let's dive into an example from our own lives. Picture someone at work who constantly takes credit for your ideas or belittles your efforts. It's easy to feel frustrated and retaliate with harsh words or passive-aggressive comments. But what if you chose to respond differently? By remaining calm and addressing the situation with kindness, you can break the cycle of negativity. Instead of fueling the fire, you choose to douse it with understanding. This doesn't mean that we ignore our feelings or let people walk all over us. It's about standing firm in our values while refusing to let anger control our reactions. It's about responding with love instead of hate. As we reflect on these teachings from Jesus today, think about your own life. Is there someone who has hurt you recently? Consider how you might apply this principle of turning the other cheek. It might not be easy, but embracing forgiveness can lead to healing, not just for them but for you too. Remember, when we choose peace over conflict, we are embodying Jesus' message in a powerful way. Let's take this wisdom into our hearts and let it guide us in our everyday interactions. Now that we've explored the deep feelings of hurt and anger that many of us experience, let's turn our focus to a powerful teaching from Jesus: turn the other cheek. This phrase, often quoted but sometimes misunderstood, invites us to look beyond mere words and into the heart of what Jesus was trying to convey. Imagine being part of a large crowd on a hillside, listening to Jesus speak. His voice carries across the gentle breeze, and you can feel the weight of each word. He talks about love, kindness, and how we should treat one another. When he says, turn the other cheek, it's not just a suggestion, it's a revolutionary idea meant to challenge our instincts. In a world where retaliation often feels like the only option, Jesus offers an alternative path. But what does it really mean to turn the other cheek? In the context of his time, this teaching was radical. People faced oppression and injustice daily, and they often responded with revenge or violence. Jesus recognized this tendency and wanted to break that cycle. By encouraging individuals to turn the other cheek, he wasn't asking us to be passive or weak. Instead, he was inviting us to reclaim our power in a way that promotes healing rather than harm. To understand this better, let's think about it in simpler terms. Picture yourself at school or with friends when someone insults you. The natural reaction might be to fire back with an even sharper comment. But what if you decided to respond differently? What if you chose to let the insult slide, showing that their words don't define you? By turning the other cheek, you show strength and dignity in your reaction. You choose not to let negativity pull you down. In today's world, with social media and constant connections, we often see conflict escalate quickly. Arguments can spiral out of control, leading to hurt feelings and broken relationships. Jesus' message remains relevant: responding with love and forgiveness can create a ripple effect of positivity. When we choose to turn the other cheek, we teach others that kindness is more powerful than anger. Now, let's reflect on what this means for us today. Can you think of a situation where you felt wronged? Perhaps it was during a disagreement with a friend or a frustrating interaction with a coworker. Jesus encourages us to consider how we might respond differently. Rather than allowing negativity to take hold, we have the choice to respond with grace. As we continue this journey together, let's remember that turning the other cheek isn't just about being nice, it's about transforming our hearts and minds. It's an invitation to embody love in our everyday lives and to inspire those around us. Through this teaching, Jesus opens the door for healing, not just for ourselves but for our communities as well. As we delve deeper into the meaning of turning the other cheek, it's important to understand the biblical context behind this powerful phrase. This teaching comes from the Sermon on the Mount, found in Matthew 5 verse 39, where Jesus addresses a crowd that is grappling with oppression and conflict. To truly appreciate his words, we need to step back in time and explore the historical and cultural landscape of that era. During Jesus' time, the land of Israel was under Roman rule. The people lived in a society where injustice was rampant, and the threat of violence loomed large. Many faced daily hardships, whether through heavy taxation, mistreatment by soldiers, or discrimination within their own communities. In such a world, responding to insult and injury with retaliation seemed like a natural instinct, a way to regain control in an environment where power dynamics often dictated actions. When Jesus spoke about turning the other cheek, he wasn't merely offering a gentle suggestion, he was challenging deeply ingrained social norms. The phrase itself is rooted in a legal context known as the law of retaliation, which stated that if someone wronged you, you had the right to seek vengeance. This principle of an eye for an eye was intended to limit revenge but often led to cycles of violence. Jesus sought to transform this understanding entirely. By advocating for turning the other cheek, Jesus introduced a revolutionary concept. Instead of responding to harm with more harm, individuals could choose a path of nonviolence and forgiveness. It was an invitation to reclaim one's dignity without perpetuating a cycle of retribution. In essence, he was teaching that true strength lies not in retaliation but in love and compassion. To illustrate this further, let's consider a scenario familiar to many. Imagine you are walking down the street when someone pushes past you without an apology. The instinct might be to shove back or confront them angrily. However, what if you chose to remain calm? By not reacting with aggression, you take control of your response and show that you refuse to be pulled into negativity. This teaching resonates beyond personal encounters, it speaks to broader societal issues as well. When communities face conflict, whether due to race, religion, or politics, Jesus' message encourages us to seek understanding instead of division. Turning the other cheek becomes a powerful act that can inspire healing and reconciliation. As we reflect on this biblical context today, think about how these ancient teachings apply to our modern lives. Are there situations where you feel tempted to retaliate? Remember that by choosing love over anger and forgiveness over revenge, we can embody Jesus' message in meaningful ways. Let's carry these insights forward as we continue exploring how turning the other cheek can transform not only our hearts but also our relationships and communities. Now that we've explored the context and challenges surrounding Jesus' teaching, let's break down what turning the other cheek truly means. This phrase encapsulates profound concepts like forgiveness, resilience, and nonviolence, values that can transform our lives if we embrace them. When Jesus spoke these words, he wasn't suggesting that we simply accept mistreatment. Instead, he was offering a radical alternative to the instinctive response of anger and retaliation. Turning the other cheek is about recognizing our own strength and choosing how we respond to hurt. It calls for a conscious decision to rise above the immediate urge to fight back. Let's consider the concept of forgiveness. Forgiving someone doesn't mean that what they did is okay, it means you are freeing yourself from the burden of anger. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack full of rocks, it weighs you down with every step. When you choose to forgive, you're letting go of some of those rocks. You're lightening your load and allowing yourself to heal. Turning the other cheek is a powerful act of forgiveness, reminding us that we don't have to carry resentment with us. Resilience also plays a key role here. Life will throw challenges at us, people will hurt us, and situations will frustrate us. But how we respond defines our character. When we turn the other cheek, we demonstrate resilience by refusing to let negativity dictate our actions. Instead of responding with retaliation, we choose grace and understanding. This resilience empowers us to face future conflicts with a sense of calmness and strength. Nonviolence is another fundamental aspect of this teaching. In a world where aggressive responses often seem justified, Jesus invites us to choose peace instead. Turning the other cheek is not about being passive, it's about making a bold statement that love triumphs over hate. It's about saying, I refuse to let anger control my actions. This approach can foster dialogue and mutual respect instead of escalating conflict. To illustrate these concepts, picture this: you're in a heated discussion with someone who strongly disagrees with you, perhaps a family member or a friend. The conversation starts heating up, and both sides feel defensive. Instead of firing back in anger, you take a deep breath and choose to listen first. By turning the other cheek in this moment, you create space for understanding rather than hostility, opening the door to reconciliation. As we reflect on these teachings today, think about areas in your life where turning the other cheek could make a difference. Are there relationships strained by anger or misunderstandings? Could embracing forgiveness and nonviolence lead to healing? By embodying these values, we not only honor Jesus' teachings but also create a more compassionate world around us. Let's carry this wisdom forward and strive to apply it in our daily lives, choosing love over anger and understanding over conflict as we move forward together. Now that we've explored the deeper meanings behind turning the other cheek, let's look at how we can apply these teachings in our everyday lives. This is where Jesus' message truly comes alive, when we take that wisdom and put it into action in our relationships, at work, and within our communities. Consider a common situation many of us face: conflicts in friendships. Picture two friends who have had a disagreement. One friend feels hurt by something the other said and is tempted to respond with harsh words. Instead, if they choose to turn the other cheek, they might reach out to talk about their feelings calmly. By approaching the situation with forgiveness and understanding, they open the door to dialogue and healing rather than allowing resentment to fester. This simple act of kindness can strengthen their friendship, leading to deeper trust and connection. Now, let's think about the workplace. Imagine a scenario where a colleague takes credit for your idea in a meeting. The initial reaction might be frustration or anger, leading to potential conflict. However, if you choose to turn the other cheek, you could approach that colleague privately and express your thoughts calmly. You might say something like, "I felt my idea wasn't acknowledged in the meeting, and I'd love to discuss how we can collaborate more effectively." By choosing this path, you not only maintain a professional atmosphere but also encourage a culture of teamwork and respect. On a larger scale, think about community interactions. In today's divisive world, it's easy to allow misunderstandings or differences to escalate into hostility. For example, during heated discussions about social issues or political views, individuals often resort to insults or anger. However, what if we turned the other cheek? Instead of engaging in conflict, we could listen actively and seek to understand opposing viewpoints. By fostering respectful conversations, we create an environment where compassion flourishes over division. Another powerful example comes from stories of people who face bullying or discrimination. A young student who is bullied at school may feel tempted to retaliate with similar behavior or harsh words. But imagine if that student chooses instead to respond with kindness, perhaps by inviting that bully to join them for lunch or asking why they acted that way. It may seem daunting, yet such acts can break down walls of misunderstanding and lead to change. As we reflect on these real-life applications of turning the other cheek, consider ways you can embody this teaching in your own life. Is there someone you need to forgive? A situation where you can respond with compassion instead of anger. By embracing these moments of strength and grace, we not only honor Jesus' message but also contribute positively to our relationships and communities. Let's challenge ourselves to live out this principle daily, choosing love over anger and understanding over conflict, as we move forward together on this journey of kindness and compassion. As we continue to explore the powerful message of turning the other cheek, I'd like to share a personal story that illustrates the impact of embracing this teaching in our lives. It's a story of struggle, misunderstanding, and ultimately, healing. A few years ago, I found myself in a tough situation with a good friend. We had been close for many years, sharing laughter and supporting each other through life's ups and downs. One day, during a group gathering, she made a joke at my expense that felt more hurtful than funny. In that moment, I could feel anger swelling inside me. My initial reaction was to respond defensively, maybe even to make a sarcastic comment back. But then I paused and remembered Jesus' words about turning the other cheek. I asked myself, what would it mean to turn the other cheek right now? Instead of retaliating, I decided to approach her later in private. I took a deep breath before saying, "Hey, can we talk for a minute? When you joked about me earlier, it really hurt my feelings." I watched as her expression shifted from surprise to concern. Rather than feeling attacked, she embraced the conversation with an open heart. It turned out that she had not intended to hurt me at all. Her comment was supposed to be lighthearted, but it had missed the mark. What unfolded next was incredible. We both shared our feelings honestly, which led to a deeper understanding of each other's perspectives. Instead of escalating into anger or resentment, this moment turned into an opportunity for growth. Our friendship came out stronger than before. This experience taught me about the true essence of turning the other cheek, not just as a passive act, but as an active choice rooted in love and understanding. By choosing not to retaliate, I opened the door for dialogue instead of conflict. In hindsight, I realized how easy it would have been to let anger dictate my actions, creating a rift between us that may never have healed. Instead, I experienced firsthand how forgiveness and compassion can transform relationships. This story isn't just about my experience, it's relatable for everyone. Each of us encounters moments where we feel wronged or hurt. Perhaps it's a misunderstanding with a colleague or a disagreement with family members. In those times, consider how turning the other cheek might look in your situation. As we reflect on our own lives today, think about ways you can embrace this teaching. Are there conflicts you can resolve with love instead of anger? Moments where kindness can heal wounds. Remember that through these choices, we honor Jesus' teachings and pave the way for more compassionate relationships in our lives. Let's challenge ourselves to embrace turning the other cheek, because every act of understanding is a step toward building a better world together. As we reflect on the powerful teaching of turning the other cheek, it's essential to acknowledge the challenges that come with living out this principle. While the idea of responding with love and forgiveness sounds beautiful in theory, the reality is often much more complex. Emotions like hurt and anger can cloud our judgment and make it difficult to choose a path of peace. Consider a moment when someone close to you deeply disappoints or hurts you. Perhaps it's a friend who betrayed your trust or a family member who made a thoughtless remark. In these moments, it's natural to feel a rush of emotions, pain, frustration, and even a desire for revenge. The urge to retaliate can be strong. After all, we often think, if I don't stand up for myself, who will? But Jesus challenges us to consider another way. Turning the other cheek is not about ignoring our feelings or letting others walk all over us. Instead, it's about acknowledging our hurt while choosing not to let that hurt define our actions. It's acknowledging that yes, we are angry, but deciding not to let our anger control us. Living out this teaching can feel like an uphill battle. It's easy to respond to negativity with more negativity. It's what we see happening all around us. In heated discussions, whether online or in person, people often resort to insults and hostility. This cycle can be hard to break, especially when we feel under attack. For example, think back to a time when someone criticized you harshly or belittled your efforts at work. The immediate reaction might be to retaliate with harsh words or shut down entirely. Breaking that cycle requires both strength and resolve. It means taking a breath, stepping back from the situation, and asking ourselves how we truly wish to respond. It's important to recognize that feeling hurt or angry is perfectly normal. These emotions are part of being human. However, overcoming these feelings requires practice and introspection. It may take courage to turn the other cheek. That first step involves recognizing that holding on to anger only weighs us down further. We can also remember that we don't have to do this alone. Reaching out for support from friends, family, or even a counselor can help as we navigate difficult emotions. Embracing this journey towards forgiveness and nonviolence is not just for ourselves, it also allows us to extend grace to others. As we grapple with these challenges, let's keep in mind that every effort counts. Each time we choose love over anger, we take part in something greater than ourselves, a ripple effect of kindness that can transform not just our lives but those around us as well. So, as you think about your own experiences with hurt and anger today, ask yourself, how can I embrace the call to turn the other cheek in my life? What steps can I take towards forgiveness and understanding? It's a process, but one worth pursuing as we strive for compassion and healing in our relationships and communities. As we continue our journey in understanding the powerful message of turning the other cheek, it's essential to embrace the encouragement and hope that come from practicing forgiveness and compassion. While we've discussed the struggles and challenges inherent in this teaching, let's take a moment to celebrate the strength and beauty that arise from choosing love over anger. Imagine for a moment what it feels like to let go of resentment. Picture a time when you decided to forgive someone who hurt you. That act can be incredibly liberating, releasing a weight you may not have even realized you were carrying. When we practice forgiveness, we are not just freeing others, we are freeing ourselves. This inner peace is a remarkable gift that allows us to move forward unburdened by past grievances. Turning the other cheek invites us into a reality where compassion reigns. When we choose to respond with kindness, even in difficult situations, we create ripples of positivity that can touch not only our lives but also the lives of those around us. Each act of compassion is like a seed sown in fertile ground, growing into something beautiful over time. Let's consider how these small acts can accumulate into something powerful. Think about a community where people choose understanding instead of conflict, where disagreements are approached with empathy rather than hostility. This is how change begins. When one person decides to turn the other cheek, others often follow suit. It creates an environment where kindness is contagious. It's important to remember that this journey is not always easy, but it is worth it. Every time we choose forgiveness over anger, we strengthen our resilience and character. We're not only honoring Jesus' teachings, we're also investing in our emotional well-being. Research shows that practicing forgiveness can lead to lower stress levels, improved mental health, and even healthier relationships. Every time you embrace this teaching, you are taking a step toward personal growth. You embody grace and compassion not just for those around you but also for yourself. It takes courage to turn the other cheek, but with each act of love, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than any hurt or betrayal. As we reflect on these uplifting messages today, think about your own life. Have there been times when you've chosen anger over compassion? How did it feel? Now, imagine how different things might be if you embraced forgiveness instead. Let's challenge ourselves to apply this principle daily, whether within our families, at work, or in our communities. Ask yourself how turning the other cheek could change your interactions. When conflicts arise, envision responding with kindness rather than negativity. In doing so, not only do we honor Jesus' message, we also contribute to creating a world filled with hope and healing. So let's take these lessons to heart and spread love wherever we go, knowing that every choice made in compassion brings us closer together and cultivates a brighter future for all of us. As we wrap up our discussion on the profound teaching of turning the other cheek, it's important to take a moment for reflection. This journey toward understanding forgiveness and compassion is not just about absorbing information, it's about applying these principles in our own lives. To help facilitate this, I'd like to pose some reflective questions for you to consider. First, think about your own experiences with anger or hurt. Can you recall a recent situation where you felt wronged? How did you initially respond? Reflect on those emotions and ask yourself, what would it have looked like to turn the other cheek in that moment? Imagine how the outcome could change if you chose a response rooted in forgiveness and compassion instead of retaliation. Next, let's consider your relationships. Are there any unresolved conflicts in your life right now? Perhaps it's with a family member, a friend, or even a coworker. What steps can you take to reach out and open up a dialogue? Recognize that turning the other cheek doesn't mean ignoring your feelings, it means approaching these conversations with an intention to understand and heal. Have you ever found yourself caught in a cycle of negativity, whether at work, school, or in community interactions? What small acts of kindness could you introduce into these environments to foster a more positive atmosphere? Think about how turning the other cheek can create a ripple effect, inspiring others to respond with empathy as well. Now, let's shift the focus inward for a moment. How often do you extend the same grace and forgiveness to yourself that you would offer to others? We all make mistakes and face challenges, but it's crucial to practice self-compassion along our journeys. When we learn to forgive ourselves, we become more equipped to forgive others. As you reflect on these questions, allow yourself the space to feel whatever emotions arise. Remember that acknowledging these feelings is the first step toward healing. Embracing forgiveness and compassion is a journey, one filled with ups and downs. But with each step you take toward understanding and love, you are actively participating in changing your narrative and the world around you. Finally, I encourage you to consider how your actions today can make a difference tomorrow. What intentions will you set for yourself moving forward, whether it's choosing kindness over anger, listening with an open heart, or extending forgiveness? Every choice brings us closer to embodying Jesus' message of love. So as we part ways today, carry these reflections with you. Let them inspire you to seek peace and understanding in all areas of your life. Remember that each time you turn the other cheek, you contribute not only to your own growth but also to a more compassionate world. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Let's continue to spread love wherever we go. As we come to the end of our exploration of Jesus' teaching on turning the other cheek, let's take a moment for a heartfelt reflection. This journey has shown us the strength that lies in forgiveness and compassion, but it also invites us to make a commitment, both to ourselves and to those around us. Imagine waking up each day with the intention to respond with love instead of anger. Think about how this simple choice could transform your interactions, whether at home, in the workplace, or within your community. Each time you embrace this teaching, you become part of something greater, a movement toward understanding and peace. Turning the other cheek is not just a passive acceptance of hurt, it's an active decision to rise above negativity. It's about refusing to let anger dictate your actions and instead choosing a path that leads to healing. Remember, this process starts small, with one act of kindness at a time. Whether it's offering a smile to a stranger or showing compassion to someone who has wronged you, these moments can create powerful ripples of change. Think back on the stories we've discussed today. They remind us that every challenge faced is an opportunity for growth. When we choose forgiveness in difficult situations, we not only honor the teachings of Jesus but also nurture our own souls. We cultivate an inner peace that radiates outward, affecting everyone we encounter. This journey may not always be easy. There will be days filled with frustrations or misunderstandings. But in those moments of challenge, remind yourself of the power you hold within. You possess the ability to change the narrative, not only for yourself but for others as well. By embodying love and compassion, you set an example that inspires those around you. As we conclude today, I encourage each of you to reflect on how you can apply these principles in tangible ways over the coming days. What are some specific actions you can take? Perhaps it's reaching out to someone with whom you've had conflict or simply practicing patience in challenging circumstances. In doing so, remember that every choice made from a place of love contributes to building a more compassionate world. Together, we can foster environments where kindness is valued over retaliation and forgiveness leads the way toward unity. So let's commit together to turn the other cheek not only as a teaching but as a way of life. Let's pledge to spread love wherever we go and carry this message forward into our daily interactions. As we embrace this journey together, let's strive for peace in our hearts and our communities, transforming our world one act of kindness at a time. Thank you for being part of this conversation today. May it inspire you as much as it has inspired me. Let's continue spreading love and understanding in everything we do.